For weeks, prisons across Texas were under a statewide lockdown. It is the first time that has happened in over a decade.
The Texas Department of Criminal Justice says the amount of violence, drugs, and contraband are at an all-time high. Our case that investigates Lee Waldman was given exclusive access inside a prison in Huntsville, where she saw those problems firsthand.
The deep red walls of the Wynn unit stand out against the grass and greenery. With elevated guard towers and barbed wire fencing enclosing it all, this is exactly how you'd picture a Texas prison. Our day started just like any other visitor or employee of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. A walk through a metal detector, belongings searched, and a pat-down. That got us inside the gated area. A guard buzzed us in for a secondary screening, this time with a canine officer. A second gated area, another buzz in. We were finally inside. The warden, Roger Bowers, and a group with TDCJ brought us into a room to brief us on what we'd see to get the scope of the problems they're finding, not only here at Wynn, but across the Lone Star State. Our first stop, the Wynn Unit mailroom.
My name is Margaret Thomas.
Thomas works as the mailroom supervisor here.
We process all the incoming mail. We do search that for contraband, different smells, different textures, different coloring on the paper.
It's been busy. System-wide, more and more attempts are being made to bring drugs through the mail system. On TDCJ's social media, they show Bibles stuffed with meth, packages testing positive for fentanyl, and books positive for synthetic marijuana or K2.
And they're going to try to get it in through the legal mail, which we're more on alert on that.
As a supervisor, Thomas carries Narcan on hand. They have a station by the mailroom door as well.
If anybody gets exposed to it and we see them acting funny or feeling crazy, then we squirt this in their nose.
Our next stop took us to the cafeteria. Because the inmates are on lockdown and staying in their cells, meals are bagged and brought to them.
2,600 offenders, roughly, so we're feeding 7,800 meals a day on this unit.
Warden Bowers then took us to the gym. Dozens of inmates were getting their belongings searched. Mattresses were going through a specialized scanner.
We're trying to process the lockdown as strategically and as safe as we can to make sure that we rid any contraband on the facility so we can return the facility back to normal.
Contraband can be anything from weapons to cell phones. Bauer staff is going through every item the inmates bring with them.
Unfortunately, some of these guys move contraband from one area to another, so we'll take them through a strip search process.
Cortland Wayne King has been here since 2012. He's serving life without parole.
Lockdown is pretty good. It's running fairly like it's supposed to. Lockdown is lockdown.
King showed us his tablet he uses to play games and send messages to loved ones. During a lockdown, visitation is suspended.
I got 8 grandkids.
8 grandkids. What's her name?
Charm.
In another role, Colt Galding waits for his search. Galding says he gets why they're under lockdown. Drugs are at an all-time high.
It is going to be a better place when they get contraband off the unit.
Overall, we have around 121 narcotic dogs, and some of those are puppies still being trained, narcotic dogs across the state.
The dogs are working alongside Intelligence Sergeant Dominic Yanes and his team to clear cell blocks where inmates live.
A lot of times they'll make false walls.
This broken off razor blade was found while we were there. Pieces of fabric are tied together to throw things from one cell to another. After 20 years with TDCJ, Yanes knows what to look for and where.
So I think the biggest difference is the type of contraband that we're finding and also the amount.
Greetings, it's your host, Gabe Morales. Both of my grandparents were born in the greater Dallas area, as well as my father, who lived there until he was 5 years old, then moved to Washington State. We have lots of relatives in Texas, and we'll have a family reunion this June with a couple hundred relatives expected to be in attendance. I have visited the state many times previously and always enjoy the local culture and people. While I interviewed some Texas gang members in Washington State, where many families like mine trace their roots back to the Lone Star State, I mostly learned from Texas gangs from people like my mentor, Robert Mocha Morrell, rest in peace, who was once one of the top investigators for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and guys like my brother, Rocky Dyer, rest in peace, who was with San Antonio PD for many years and was past president of the Texas Gang Investigators Association, who helped build bridges with the International Latino Gang Investigators Association when I was president. Today in this series, we are going to cover the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, which is an agency responsible for statewide adult offenders, including managing inmates in state prisons, state jails, and private correctional facilities, with oversight or mandatory supervision on parole. Texas Department of Criminal Justice operates the largest prison system in the United States and has its headquarters in Huntsville. In 1948, the Texas legislature passed an act to establish a state penitentiary, which created an oversight board to manage the treatment of convicts and administration of penitentiaries. The Texas prison system began as a single institution located in Huntsville. A second prison facility, the Rusk Penitentiary, received convicts in January 1883. Before the Ruiz versus Estelle court case, the Texas Department of Corrections had 18 units, including 16 for males and 2 for females. Today, the department has 3 main divisions: the Corrections Institution Division, the Parole Division, and the Community Justice Assistance Division. I will only cover state institutional prisons within TDCJ in this video, not any jails, and I will only focus on higher security prison units. I will not cover the 27 federal BOP facilities located within the state. I will come back to some of those after I'm done covering all the State Department of Corrections in this series. Most of TDCJ prisons are located in the historic Cotton Belt, around the former location of the Stephen F. Austin's colony. The oldest units still in operation today that were established between 1849 and 1933 include Huntsville, Wynn, Jester Unit, Vance, Clemens, Ramsey, Stringfellow, Gorey, Memorial, and Wainwright. Currently, Eric Guerrero is the director of the Institutions Division. Let's talk about some of the facilities under his leadership. The Allred Unit is located near Wichita Falls and opened in June 1995. It is one of the largest maximum security units, housing approximately 4,438 offenders, consisting of 4 main departments: general population, administrative segregation, and one of the first expansion cell blocks, which were high security, segregation overflow, and close custody offenders. It also contains one of Texas safekeeping units, which are designed to house prisoners that would be in danger from other inmates. In other words, protective custody. The Bethel unit is located in Tennessee Colony, Texas, and is a men's maximum security prison. It manages individuals posing a higher risk to public safety, staff, or inmates. Its classification includes features like reinforced structures and controlled movement to prevent escapes and help maintain order. The Clemens Unit near Houston is best known for its prison farm, but also houses juveniles adjudicated as adults in an ADSEG G4 area, which is high security. Most of the inmates at Clemens at all custody levels are second-time offenders. The Clements Unit, not to be confused with the Clemens Unit, is located east of Amarillo and opened in March 1990. This facility has a design capacity of 3,182 inmates and accommodates offenders from custody levels from GE1 minimum security to G5 maximum security. The Hopefield Unit is also located in Tennessee Colony, Texas, and is the largest facility within the system, holding up to 4,139 prisoners at multiple custody levels. It was built in 1965 and employs approximately 500 total employees. The Connolly Unit is a maximum security prison located in unincorporated Karnes County. It opened in July 1995. On December 13, 2000, 7 inmates staged an elaborate breakout that made national news headlines. This group later became known as the Texas 7, which I'll talk about more here later in this episode. The Ellis Unit opened in July 1965 and is approximately 12 miles north of Huntsville. It was named after Oscar B. Ellis, a former prison director, and houses up to 2,400 males. The Estelle Unit is one of 7 prisons located within Huntsville, Texas, and opened in June 1984. It can house almost 3,200 inmates. and has a supermax facility separated from the main prison. The Ferguson unit, being built in 1962, is located near Midway and named after James E. Ferguson, a former state governor. It first held older teens and young men. The Hughes unit opened in 1990 near Gatesville as a maximum security prison built to house up to 2,250 inmates. The Lewis unit is located approximately 1 mile east of Woodville and opened in 1990 during the nationwide prison construction boom. It has a capacity of 2,232 offenders. The McConnell unit is located in unincorporated B County. As of 2001, the administration segregation area had 504 cells, and at that time, these prisoners were segregated by race to prevent gang violence. The units were divided into pods, and its residents included members of the Mexican Mafia, which I will discuss further in Part 2. Memorial Unit, better known as the Darrington Unit until 2023, is located in Brazoria County. This prison is one of the older facilities still operating within TDCJ, having opened in 2017. In the late 1980s, this unit housed a lot of the leaders of many prison gangs. The Michael Unit is located in unincorporated Anderson County and opened in 1987. Robert Perkison, author of Texas Tough, The Rise of America's Prison Empire, described the Michael Unit as one of the meanest lockups in the state. The Polunsky Unit is located in Livingston and was opened in 1993. It is also considered to be one of the more dangerous prisons in Texas, with a total capacity of 2,900 inmates, and it houses death row for men, those who have been sentenced to death, who are housed there awaiting their final days. The Robertson Unit is a maximum security prison located in Abilene that opened in late 1992. This prison serves as a regional release unit for prisoners exiting the system. The Smith Unit is located in Dawson County and opened in October 1992. It has a maximum capacity of 2,234 inmates held at various security levels. The Stiles Unit is located in an unincorporated area of Jefferson County and opened in the summer of 1993. Initially, it housed many inmates with HIV. In 2023, the unit saw 3 on-inmate homicides, which was part of a trend of rising violence within the system that prompted a statewide lockdown of all facilities, as shown in the intro. The Telford Unit is located in unincorporated Bowie County and opened in July 1995. It has a total capacity of 2,872 inmates. The Wainwright Unit is located in Lovelady. It has a capacity of 2,143 males and employs approximately 400 staff members. This facility, as many others, provides various programs and services to inmates. The prison also has a medical and mental health unit to provide health care for offenders. The Wynn Unit is located in North Huntsville. It is the second oldest prison in Texas and was named after George John McGruger Wynn, who served as a prison employee and later as a board member for the system from 1878 to 1881. In the 1970s, the prison had only 17 guards on day shift to oversee some 2,600 prisoners. And this unit, like many others, arranged to have building tenders used to assist guarding the prisoners due to the small number of uniformed staff. This was a typical setup in many Texas joints back in the day, which led to a number of problems that we will discuss here shortly. The State Classification Committee and designated Classification and Records Office staff members assign each prisoner to his or her unit after the prisoner completes testing and interviews. Offenders are not allowed to choose their unit of assignment. Although having worked classification for almost 25 years, I'm sure they find ways to manipulate the system. Offenders are classified to level 1, 2, 3, or 4 units, with 4 being the highest. There are also level 5 and 6, which is housing for offenders with high-level past violence and a history of assaults, and for administrative segregation, commonly called the hole. Like any correction system, Texas has its advantages and disadvantages. One advantage of the system is that it provides a clear and structural approach to classifying and managing prisoners based on their risk level. This ensures the safety and security of both prisoners, staff, and the community. However, there are also some disadvantages. One is that it can sometimes be difficult to determine an appropriate level for a prisoner, which can result in misclassification. As with all systems, offenders can be reclassified to a higher or lower level, but often this doesn't occur until there is a serious incident. As of August 2022, TDCJ had a total of almost 122,000 prisoners. Approximately 32% were black, 33% were whites, 33% were Hispanic, and the rest were other or unknown race. 92.5% were male and 7.5% female. The Corrections Division has 8 main facilities, including 5 prisons and 3 state jails that house women. In 1974, the Huntsville prison siege was an 11-day uprising that took place from July 24th to August 3rd, 1974. This standoff was one of the largest hostage-taking incidents in United States history. Federico, a.k.a. Fred Gomez Carrasco, and 2 other inmates laid siege to the education and library buildings of the Walls Unit. Carrasco was a powerful heroin kingpin in South Texas, whose network operated all along the U.S.-Mexican border for many years. He was serving a life sentence for the attempted murder of a police officer. He was also suspected in the murder of dozens of people in Mexico and Texas. Some say possibly as many as 48 people died by his own hand or by his orders. Having smuggled in pistols and ammunition into the prison, he and other convicts took 11 prison workers and 4 inmates hostage. The prison warden and director of TDCJ immediately began negotiations with the convicts. FBI agents and Texas Rangers soon arrived to assist them as the media descended upon the prison. After a long 11-day standoff, the convicts finally made their escape attempt just before 10 p.m. on Saturday, August 3rd. They moved out of the library towards a waiting vehicle in a makeshift shield consisting of legal books taped to mobile blackboards that were dubbed by the press the Trojan Taco. Inside the shield were 3 convicts and 4 hostages, while 8 other hostages ringed the exterior of. Acting on the prearranged plan, prison guards and Texas Rangers blasted the group with fire hoses. However, a rupture in the hose gave the convicts time to fatally shoot 2 female hostages, Yvonne Becerra and Julia Stanley, who had volunteered to join the convicts in an armored car. When prison officials returned fire, Carrasco committed suicide, and one of his 2 accomplices, Rodolfo Dominguez, was killed. The Texas 7 were a group of prisoners who escaped from the Connolly unit on December 13, 2000. At the time of the breakout, the reported ringleader, 30-year-old George Rivas, was serving 18 consecutive 15-to-life sentences. Using several well-planned ploys, the 7 convicts overpowered and restrained 9 civilian maintenance supervisors, including their boss, 4 correctional officers, and 3 uninvolved inmates. The escape occurred during lunchtime and at head count, the slowest period of the prison day. Once each victim was knocked unconscious, the offenders removed some of their clothing, tied them up, and placed them in an electrical room behind a locked door. The attackers also stole credit cards and identification from their victims. The group impersonated prison officers on the phone and created false stories to ward off suspicion. After this first phase, the group made their way toward the back gate of the prison, some disguised in their stolen civilian clothing. They pretended to be there in order to install video monitors. One guard at the gatehouse was subdued, and a trio raided the guard tower and stole numerous weapons and drove away. Following an episode of America's Most Wanted, several people phoned in sightings of possible suspects in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and several were arrested, but one was found dead, Larry James Harper, having shot himself in the chest with a pistol. 4 surviving members were taken into custody. And a few days later, the FBI received information that the remaining escapees were hiding out in a Holiday Inn in Colorado Springs. A deal was brokered with the 2, allowing them to make live TV appearances before they were arrested. And they stated over the air that the system is as corrupt as we are. While they were on the run, they were also involved in the murder of Irving, Texas police officer Aubrey Wright Hawkins on Christmas Eve. Since that time, 4 of the 6 who were sentenced to death have been executed.
Keith, Christine, while they don't happen often, according to stats from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, quite a few of them, though, have made big headlines. One of the most recent high-profile prison escapes involved a group of violent convicts known as the Texas 7. On December 13, 2000, 7 convicts broke out of the Connolly Unit lockup, a maximum security prison in South Texas, setting off a massive 6-week manhunt. Soon after, they robbed a Radio Shack store in Pearland, making off with cash and police scanners. The escapees, George Rivas, Joseph Garcia, Randy Halprin, Larry Harper, Patrick Murphy, Donald Newberry, and Michael Rodriguez, had all been convicted for a long list of violent crimes, including murder, rape, and robbery. On Christmas Eve, They killed a police officer while stealing cash and weapons from a sporting goods store in North Texas, and then fled to Colorado, where some of them were captured while others surrendered. From 2005 to date, 48 inmates have attempted to escape from Texas prisons, with 2007 having the highest number with 5. In that same time period, 27 inmates escaped, with 2007 once again having the highest number at 5, including 27-year-old David Puckett, who in 2011 used a cell phone smuggled into prison to break out of a maximum security unit near Beaumont. He was arrested in Nebraska with the woman who allegedly helped him escape. Also, one of the U.S. Marshal's most wanted fugitives, Jose Bustos Diaz, who was serving a 35-year sentence for murder when he escaped from the TDCJ Briscoe unit in Dilley, Texas, on April 6, 2010. Prior to 2005, in 1998, death row inmate Martin Garul escaped from the Ellis unit between Huntsville and Riverside, north of Houston. His body was found a week later, floating in a creek near the Trinity River.
In 2007, 2 escapees escaped from the Wynn unit in Huntsville. They were on the work detail in the field just off of Interstate 45 when they were able to overpower the supervising correctional officer, take her weapons, and steer a nearby city vehicle. While fleeing the scene, they ran over the officer, identified as 59-year-old Susan Canfield, killing her. According to officials, the suspects later ditched the vehicle for another, which they stole. 2 convicts, John Falk and Jerry Martin, were then sent to death row, where they still reside. Death row offenders and offenders with life imprisonment without parole enter the Byrd unit in Huntsville, and women who are sentenced to death enter the reception unit in the Christina Kane unit in Gatesville. From there, inmates without parole go to their assigned facilities. Male death row sentence inmates are housed in the Palenque unit, and female death row inmates in the O'Daniel unit. Last I checked, there were approximately 290 prisoners on death row, and the present method of execution is lethal injection. There have been some recent reforms within the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, which has a reputation for being very brutal. Some of these reforms include drug rehabilitation programs and reduction in sentencing for offenders sentenced in the past for nonviolent drug crimes. There's also been an increase in the number of parole officers and the creation of special courts for specific crimes used to help reduce the state prison population. The agency has also implemented a safe prisons program with the goal of improving on the Prison Rape Elimination Act policy, or PREA, throughout state prisons and jails in order to reduce incidents of sexual assault. That's all I have for you for part 1. I'll be back soon for part 2, as we'll discuss security threat groups operating within the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. For now, this is Gabe Morales signing off for Gangsters, Cops, and Politicians.